So this is a trip I took while I was still living in Taiwan. I got the chance to take a trip with my dad to Japan. We only had a few days, so we tried to make it work and we crammed as much in as we could. Okay, so I had to wait in that line for 30 minutes, but once I got up to the counter, the guy scanned my passport, gave me my ticket within probably 15 seconds. That was awesome. Now to boarding. Well, security, and then boarding. Security, also speedy. Good job, Taiyuan Airport. Doing a fine job. All right, in the right place now. Now I just gotta wait for the plane to get here. Off to Japan. Unfortunately, I ended up buying the wrong flight, so I had to meet my dad there. Alright, made it to Osaka. I got stopped coming through customs. The lady asked me if I had any drugs, and she went through each drug to make sure I didn't have it. Thank you, Japan, for labeling me a drug dealer. Alright, we gotta find the train ticket office now. Homegirl said the subway is probably closed, which is not good. I'll still find a way to get there. I got a train ticket at least. Osaka's subway is a little less user-friendly than Taipei's. Arigato. Thank you. Oh, we figured it out. That driver had no idea where he was going. Finally, I met my dad and we headed off to our first stop. We're waiting for our last train to Mount Fuji. These bullet trains are amazing. Alright, so I'm gonna stop and tell you about this guy named Chris. So Chris met us when we got off our bus at Mount Fuji and said he would take us around in his van and tour us around for the day. So here's this white guy with flip-flops, with a van in Japan, asking us if we would get into his car. So we said, sure, sounds like fun. Chris had lived out in the Fuji area for a number of years. He met his wife out there and they live in a house very close to Fuji. I thought he ended up being a great tour guide. It was nice to have everything in English. And secondly, he knew a lot about the area and was able to take us to some local food joints and some scenic areas. So Chris, if you're watching this, I thought you were a great tour guide. I'm glad we decided to get into your van.
New North Carolina 州から来ました。初めて。
ゆっくりしてってください。
どうもありがとう。
Unfortunately, we were never able to see Fuji. It was covered by clouds the entire time. We could see the base of it, and it is huge. It's massive. We drove far enough away that we could see both sides of the mountain going up before the clouds covered it up. But that's okay. One day I'm gonna go back and hike it. night, Chris found us a hotel close to the train station where we'd be leaving from the next morning. The beds that night were on the floor. Night number 2. These beds are always on the floor. We got these Japanese style robes to go with it. When in Japan, you wear kimono. Here's our view of Mount Fuji. Just kidding. Our real view, it's supposed to be right back there, but we can't see anything, kind of a letdown. So we headed out the next morning to catch our train to the next city, which I'll talk about in the second part of Japan.